And the thing about Sandman, his gimmick of being a drunk was a shoot. He was always drunk. He was drinking all day long. All the times that I knew him, I brought him to Puerto Rico. He was drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning. And he'd just keep drinking all day long. I guess he had it down to a science by then that he knew he could drink so many beers before 12 and so many beers to 6. And then from 6 to 12, I guess he had a different scheme doing those party hours. But I remember we brought him in one time and Sabio said, "Hey, why don't we just go out the door and start fighting with those guys?" I said, "No, I won't." I was booking. I said, "Let's let Sandman go around and do his deal." And he said, "I don't know. I don't know if they'll buy it here." I said, "Well, I I think they will." And he went out. That was the best part of the match. Of course, the people are going to stand up, yeah, and then they're pouring beer on people, and they love that. And then he had it took him 5 minutes to get into the ring. Then he had a 5-minute match, then 3 minutes to get out. So it was like a 15-minute whole segment, but was entertaining. And I went to the back. Sabio says, "Well, next time I disagree with you, tell me to shut up. And we'll just do what you want to do." He said that worked great because the people enjoyed it. So when the people went out the door that night, they were saying, "I really like that Sandman deal," because they could identify with him. And that's what you want. Any booker that books a show, he wants the people, when they go out through the door, he don't want them saying, "That was the living shits." He wants them saying, "Damn, that was pretty good. I enjoyed that." Now you might have a fan. You have a fan that would always come back. In Puerto Rico, I always had a scheme of things. Babyface is over basically to make the people happy. Then you got your heat. Then you beat them up. You did this, you did that. You run somebody in. I was down there 3 years, and they never really popped to it, what I was doing. But especially in little spot shows, not towns that are regular, you always put the baby faces over because you don't want any trouble in these little towns. You don't want that because you don't know what the police are like or anything. So you make the people happy. I always believed in finishes because give the fans what they paid for. They didn't pay for a DQ, but they would work every now and then if you didn't overuse it. But if you give them a finish, that's what they paid for. So they would have no bitch going out the door, and you want them going out happy. That's why I put on my hot stuff. I put it on early because you know who taught me that idea? Carlos Colon in Puerto Rico. The hottest thing he would have on the card, and when I was there, it was me and Frankie Lane, the dirty Americans or whatever, cowboys. He didn't put us on last. And I asked him one time, I said, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, Carlos. Why would you put your main event on fourth?" And he told me something that I wanted to shake his hand on later. He says, "If we wait till the end of the night to put on our hottest act or angle," he said, "we're not getting out of the stadium without getting somebody hurt." He says, "By that time, they're all drunk," and they were. And he said, "They would kill the heels." He said, "I'd have no heels." So he put it on fourth before the people got really hammered and really, mad and eager to kill you. Put it on fourth. And I thought he was the smartest man in the world after that. I said, that's some ingenious thinking that he did. And I thanked him for it.
Is that why you ended up having to put Sandman on first? Because he was like the fans, he'd get drunker and drunker and drunker as well.
Well, I don't think I put him on first. Did it say first?
No, I've made that up. I just sort of assumed that you saw how drunk he was maybe 3 hours later and you thought we'd best get him out there early.
Well, he was okay drunk because if you see him drunk, sometimes he wanders around. He don't know where he is. But I forgot, the Harris brothers told me one time, they was in ECW Arena, and I forgot what was going to happen. Sandman was supposed to run into the ring at a certain point, but he got so drunk he forgot his entrance point, and he came out about halfway into the match, and they didn't know he was coming. And this is Don Harris telling me. He said he had a chair. He said, he hit me so friggin' hard. He said, I've never been hit that hard in a bar fight. He said, I turned around and he said, I started beating the living shit out of him. And then Ronnie, his brother, saw that he was upset with Sandman. They kicked Sandman's ass from the ring. These were the heels. They kicked his ass all the way back to the dressing room and left him. And then went back and finished the match. Then they come back. Then they want to, when they come back to the dressing room, they were still mad. They was going to beat Sandman's ass again. And Paul Heyman saw how mad they were, and he told Sandman to go ahead and leave. But he was drunk all that. But the people accepted that. That's what they expected out of him. I think I put him on that night, not last. I think I put him on like third from the last. But he was still drunk. It didn't matter that much anyway. Because in Puerto Rico, everybody was drunk. Not me, because I didn't, I don't drink that much, but everybody was hammered. That was the damnedest place I've been in my life.